This is the Flanders neighborhood. People move here because it is a tight community. You make friends with your neighbors. Everybody's got kids. You'll see them out here, especially during the summer, riding bike, playing.
Well, we were alerted to the fire at 6:27. The first chief arrived. He called for the immediate second alarm. So right there, it told me that was a really bad fire.
On my way here, I was told by dispatch that there was possibly entrapment in the house.
The fire was already coming out of the windows of the house. That, in my experience, is a fire that's been burning for some time.
When I arrived on the scene that day, it was chaos. The fire was still actively burning, and the fire department was still attempting to search the house, still attempting to extinguish the fire. The officers had determined that there was at least one person still inside the house, and they were afraid there were more. Some of the neighbors had seen children around the house.
I walked around the house and I noticed there was a hook, a rather large hook coming out of one of the bedroom's window. I wasn't quite sure what that was. I started to walk away, and it dawned on me that it was an escape ladder. The next arriving truck company, I had them assigned to that window. They laddered it, and right away, as soon as they reached inside the window, they felt some of the victims.
It was apparent that that was a room that had been established as the escape from the home. There was a window in the room, and next to the window was an escape ladder had been placed on the window before the victims succumbed to the smoke and toxins on the fire. In this particular fire, it started in a living room on the lower floor of a split-level home. Once it hit the stairwell itself will act as a chimney, and it will suck the heat, and with the heat comes the flame, and with the flame is the smoke and the toxins that our victims were exposed to.
We begin an examination of the entire premises, from the outside of the building, inside. Starting at the area that's least damaged, examining all the potential fire causes.
Through 2 days worth of searching and digging through debris and putting up walls that had burned down, and I mean, we had 6 or 8 people holding up sections of wall so we could find out where the burn started.
We made an equivocal determination that there was an electrical malfunction at this particular outlet box that caused the ignition of the structural members that resulted in this fire.
In any major disaster or in any major occurrence, the community generally does reach out and say, how can we prevent this? How can I keep this from happening to me?
We pay particular attention to the circuit breakers. The circuit breakers that did not trip are of particular interest to us, especially if they control the circuits where the fire began.
The conventional circuit breaker, really its purpose is to make sure that the current in your household wiring doesn't exceed the rating of the wiring. And that's really its only purpose.
You can have toasters and a coffee maker on a circuit breaker, and it may sit there for 3, 4, 5 minutes before the breaker will trip. And that's primarily because you're trying to protect against the wiring overheating, and it takes time and current to overheat a wire. There's another phenomena, though, when 2 wires come together just momentarily and you have a little flash, a little spark, and as soon as they touch, they'll separate again and a little molten copper will go flying. That whole process is so short that a conventional circuit breaker doesn't see it, doesn't know it happened. That's called an arcing fault.
If you have a momentary arc or a very transient type phenomena that are associated with arcing and sparking, that breaker is not meant to really detect that. And a lot of homes, household owners and people think that that's what it's supposed to protect for. And it really doesn't. It's not designed for that. ArcFault interrupter is a significant improvement over the conventional circuit breaker relative to being able to detect arcs.
This is the heart of ArcFault circuit interrupter. It is electronics, it is miniature, it contains a custom integrated circuit that does the waveform analysis that determines whether the waveform is safe or unsafe. If it determines that it's unsafe, it has an output device which will then trip the circuit breaker.
The ArcFault interrupter does find this significant characteristics of the arcing and can detect that very quickly and cut off power before there is significant damage or heating.
The thing that really made this possible was to be able to put very sophisticated, complex electronics into a very small package, small enough that we could actually put it into a conventional circuit breaker.
ArcFault circuit interrupters are another step, and a great step, in the right direction as far as improving safety is concerned. This is really the first item I've seen to come down the pike, the first technology I've seen that actually prevents fire.
If we're going to make it a recommendation for a bedroom circuit, we need to make it a recommendation for every circuit in the home. In this fire, it wasn't a bedroom circuit that the fault occurred in. It happened in a living room. It's not the bedrooms that we have to worry about, I think. It's every electrical connection. Why protect half of your home?
I think if these people knew about these products that are out there, they would install it. Why wouldn't they? You know, you got family at home. You want to do the right thing. You want to protect them.
We would certainly encourage localities, counties, whoever has the authority for adopting code provisions, for enforcing code provisions, to include these as a requirement in their code, that AFCIs be introduced, be required in new construction, and eventually as retrofit.
If a code maker or a legislator or a construction official or a builder has any reluctance to incorporating this type of technology into their buildings, I invite them to come out on a fire with a fire investigator and dig through the rubble, dig through the destruction, and see how a tragedy like this affects the lives of the people who own the property. If they could see how a $15 or $20 investment could have prevented this kind of tragedy, they would not have any argument about putting this type of technology into the code.